All right, it's fantasy football season, and guess what? I'm here to help you win a championship. I'm Buster Brown. The show's called Redemption Rehab, and if you give me a few minutes of your time today and in the future, I'm going to show you how to get where I've been multiple times in my lifetime over 32 years of playing fantasy football, winning championship. If you're new to this, if you're one of those people that go into a draft, and I've been there, where every time you make a pick, people kind of chuckle. Maybe you're one of those guys where they just call you easy money when you walk in the door and you can't figure out why. Well, it's probably because you're not considered very good. Well, I can tell you right now, those days are over. And when it comes to draft day, I'm prepared. So what I'm going to do in the series of podcasts is prepare you for one thing: draft day. After that, we're going to prepare for things like winning a championship. Isn't that what it's all about? Winning a championship? Pounding your chest and saying, I have arrived? What are we going to do coming up here? We're going to talk about position players and where to draft them. What are position players? Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, when to draft them, where to draft them, what rounds to draft them. All we're going to talk about on this show. If you give me a few minutes of your time, you'll see that it'll happen for you just like it happens for me. Why? Because I bring in the people, I bring in the processes, and the methods that'll help you get the job done. My goals are simple: to help you win money playing fantasy football. I'm here to change the way fantasy players approach an upcoming season by bringing in people, developing processes, and methods that will increase your chance to win a championship year after year. I'm Buster Brown, and this is Fantasy Football Redemption Rehab. Hey, this is Buster Brown. Thanks for tuning in to Redemption Rehab. Today, we're talking kickers. Why you take them, where you take them, and the facts behind it. Let's get into it right now. Okay, let's check out some of the facts when it comes to kickers. The number one kicker in fantasy football last year was the Houston Texans' Kai Fairbaum. He scored about 181.5 points over a 17-game season. The next kicker I'd like you to take a look at is the number 12 kicker. His name was Greg Zuerlein of the Los Angeles Rams. He scored approximately 136.2 points over a 17-game schedule. Let's subtract the points that the number 12 kicker, 136.2, from the number 1 kicker, 181.5, and you'll see that over a 17-game schedule, the difference between number 1 and number 12 is only 45.3 points. If you divide that by a 17-game schedule, you'll see that it comes to 2.6. 2.6 per week. That doesn't move the needle in fantasy football. Let's take a look at some other facts. Did you know that no kicker in fantasy football in 2018 scored 300 points? Did you know that none of them even scored 200 points? You had 25 kickers in the NFL in fantasy football score between 100 and 200 points, and you had another 16 that scored less than 100 points. Let's look at availability on the waiver wire. In most leagues, you can go to the waiver wire anytime you want and pick up a great kicker. There's 40 to 50% availability on the waiver wire. That's where your free agents are. If you're not drafted, you go on the waiver wire. So I suggest you pick up a kicker if yours isn't doing well on the waiver wire. Another thing you should look at is rounds to draft a kicker. You draft a kicker in 18th to 20th round. And the reason you do that is because they, like I said before, they just don't move the needle, and they're so available on the waiver wire that you can pick up a great kicker anytime you want. What I like to do when it comes to the draft, I know where I'm taking a kicker between rounds and 18. I like to make a top 10 list. 10 kickers I'd like to have on my team if I can, and when I get to rounds 18, 19, I just go to that list and I grab the best one I think I can keep for the longest. Another thing I like to do is stream the position all year. If my kicker's no good, I just look for a good matchup or a kicker that's playing well, or there's going to be a ton of points scored. Like if you look at the over-under on points, if I see something in the 50s, I may cut my kicker and pick up one thinking I might get me 10 to 15 points just for that week. So I stream kickers all year. Okay, let's take a look at how kickers score points. If a kicker kicks a field goal, he usually gets 3 points plus 0.1 for every yard over 30 yards. So for example, if he kicks a 43-yard field goal, he gets 4.3 points. If it's a 55-yard field goal, he gets 5.5 points. Can't be any easier than that. So where does the kickers fall on the most important position player? It's last, number 6. Okay, well there you have it. Those are the facts on kickers. What did we learn? You drafting kickers between rounds 18 and 20. You know that if he's not producing on a weekly basis, you're going to go to the waiver wire and pick up a free agent that gives you the best opportunity that week to produce the most points. And you're going to continue to do that throughout the year, right up to playoff time. I'm Buster Brown. This is Redemption Rehab. Good luck.